feature conversation. Talent right here. He's been shaping sounds right in Ghana. And what we talk about producing, he's on top of his game. And we're talking about the reigning music producer for this year's TGMA. That is Atown, TSB. I hope I got that pronunciation right.
Yeah.
He's a guest for the morning. Let's go there, have a conversation with him, and let's talk about music. Bro, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Was everything cool?
Everything cool, yes.
I see the brand right here, elevate.
Crazy. How you go do?
Yeah, sure. But how you doing? How's the year 2026 treating you? And looking at you being, TGMA producer of the year, how's the feeling like?
Oh, it's actually great. You know, it's been a long time coming.
Okay.
You know, we've worked so hard for this time. You know, the year. So I think it's great.
That's good, right? And even before the win into TGMA, let's talk about the build-up, the excitement. Your name being nominated, going through all the process and finally getting the top crown. How's the feeling like? How's preparation? When your name was mentioned or when you had the nomination, how did you feel about it?
Like I said, like I've been working so hard, and it's been a long time coming. So we've worked on a couple of projects. I think from last year. We had like one of the biggest hits in the country, albums. I worked on BYK's album, worked on other albums as well. And I've been nominated a couple of times. Almost like every year. I've had like 10 songs nominated 5 songs, 6 songs. So me being nominated, that was this year. I wasn't surprised. I was like, Charlie, this be the time.
Yeah, you do want to say it will happen.
Yeah. So my name being mentioned, it was a bit of a shock, but see, Ghana, they go for shock you.
I
love good or bad, they will shock you.
Yeah. So I was grateful, to God and like how far I've come and all of that. So yeah,
it's amazing.
That's nice. You're quite prolific, producer, sound, audio engineer and all of that. But before we even get into music, right? Who is Atown?
I don't know where I would start from, but Atown, it's all about music. My name is Eugene Clever. I'm from here. I'm from Accra. So I'm sort of like a church boy.
Okay.
Yeah, and I completed Regent University. I went to Ibrisec Tech, completed Regent University, but I no work with them. This is a talent God has given me.
Yeah.
So I had to like develop upon the talent, try and then reach far with it, and then see where I did now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talent that God has given you.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will take a while before you'd realize that this is something I've been called to do.
Yeah.
So at what point did you venture or get into sound production?
I got into sound production professionally right after SHS. It was like a year, after SHS, a year or two. I was like, no, this thing will give me money. Right, even into uni, I was still doing the production, but it wasn't like giddy. But I got into the mainstream industry in 2019. Yeah, as I started working with Sarkodie and all of that. Yeah.
That's nice. Now, growing up, the only producer's name I heard was DJ Khaled. That was the only name I was like, DJ Khaled, all over the place.
Yeah.
But let's talk to you. Who were the producers growing up that you were listening that also kind of helped you, really understand your craft as a producer, your production?
When it comes to the producers, there were a lot. But I got inspired by the guy you mentioned,
DJ Khaled.
DJ Khaled.
Yeah.
He started producing later in his years. He was more like at the back trying to put the artists together and all. And I think Ghana Hammer inspired me.
He's a
Maurice
legend.
Babyface, Appear Twos, J. So, these guys were people were listening to when they were coming up. Too Tough, I think Too Tough, is it? Nature.
Nature.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was one of the guys who sort of like inspired me in the early 2000s, like 2008, 9, 10, thereabouts. We were listening to them. So, yeah.
That's nice.
that's
Before
good.
you come in, Jay, do you recall the first beat you produced?
Yeah.
The sound?
Yes.
Or was it? What kind of sound? Like what genre?
It was hip hop.
Hip hop.
It was actually my own song.
Okay.
You know, I used to rap when I was in SHS. I used to rap, so I was like, no. What actually ventured me into production was I wasn't getting the kind of beats that I wanted. Anytime I went to these producers, you know, I was directing them too much. Check like you go restaurant. You say if you don't know how to cook.
But then you're like,
Like, no, I want this.
I want this.
I want this. I want too much salt. I want this. I want, And the producer was like, but this thing, you go if you do one more. You can try it. So that was how I started. You know, when I came home, I had to get the salt. It wasn't easy then. You know, then Facebook wasn't even there yet. You know, internet wasn't really like giddy there. So I had to like, you know, find my way through. God being so good, I got 1 or 2 softwares. Started playing around with it. That was like the 2013, 14. Yeah. So that was when I started playing around with it. And I produced my first song. That was Brush Them Off. I had to rap on it. And I was like, it actually sounds good.
do you remember the lyrics?
No, I don't.
But can you still rap though?
If I'm too dedicated, Charlie, rapping it's not easy. Shout out to the artists, it's not easy. It's not easy rapping, yeah.
Great. You know, you mentioned the likes of the Hammer, the Mars Babyface, and these are great producers we've seen right here in Ghana. And you mentioned you were a church boy.
Yeah.
I want us to talk about the approach, because I know when it comes to gospel music, it's a different thing altogether. You're doing the trap, the you know, Afro pop and all that. How are you able to, you know, distinct between these sounds and putting them together? Because I know it's a different approach to all these things. How do you do it?
Me saying I'm a church boy is a shock though. People don't really know about this. My dad is actually a catechist. I'm a Presbyterian.
I'm a Presbyterian. So, and you did the braids. Oh my God.
Yeah, but you know, that shouldn't stop you from doing what you need to do. You understand? And my parents really understood when I wanted to do music. And I don't. Then you know, if your dad is going to church, you praise me. You have to go. You have to go. So then I was sort of like learning the instruments, like small. I was learning my way how to like, you know, listening to the gospel music. But me, I was a trap baby already. So doing that wasn't too hard. And I know God understands.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He should, bro.
Yeah,
he does. He really does.
And you know, with looking at how far I have come now, you can't stop. You know, you can't stop like, sort of, you be this, we cannot do this. No. Them say they be proud.
That's supposed to be. You know, as we're having conversations, getting to know your achievement, you know, we're learning. Definitely there's someone watching you, a young guy or lady who wants to move into your space. Let's highlight some, you know, early mistakes you did that has shaped your, you know, career today.
Shout out to this guy. This is my big brother called DM, Sound Factory Records. He had a studio where I used to go to when I didn't have my studio. So he sort of like shaped my studio, early studio life, being it's financial, you know, financially. He was trying to like, Charlie, this is for take money, this is for do this, this is for do this. So, but I still made few mistakes, you know, growing in the industry, being it working with some of these acts, how you'd have to work with them, when, and you know, when I was coming up, I wasn't rushing to work with all these big acts. I was taking my time, coming to the advice. I was taking my time. I was focusing on what will make me unique than trying to I won't work with SAC. I won't work with this. I won't work with EL. You know, those times EL dems were you know prominent at that time. You know, SAC them were still but I wasn't rushing. I was like, no, I have to take my time. Work on myself, work on my sound. So when it gets to that point, I would have to work with all these people. I wouldn't go to them. They'll hear me like, Charlie, this guy be hard. I have to work with them. So my advice to all the new guys coming up, because you see producers come up and go. Like new, as I started, I've seen new producers come. They have 1, 2 big songs. You don't hear from them again. But God being so good, I've been here from 2019. And this was the year I'm taking producer of the year. So what would prevent you from, you know, working on yourself and achieving something big later?
Bigger, yeah.
So yeah, my advice to the new cats coming up is you should stay true to your sound, master your own sound, so you don't get distracted. Because we have Afro producers, that we have hip hop. I started with hip hop. People know me when they mention Atown, they be like, this guy be hip hop, they do. But I have one of my biggest songs with Afro.
Yeah.
Yes, so that should show you that you should build yourself first. People will know you for this, and then you surprise them with something later. So you get so many people like coming to work with you. Yeah,
that's amazing. But you know, you mentioned you were working, you know, on yourself for the people to call you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that big call that came in, that spin or turn around your career.
That big call was SAC. Shout out to SAC, you know, highest. That was in 2019. You know, I heard my sound. It was like, Charlie, who this? No, I thought. So he hit up Nana Buru. Shout out to Bolinga Nation. Big biggest
man.
brother. Yeah. You know, so he sort of made all those link ups.
Yeah.
And me, I'm like, Charlie. I started after I produced Yedin. I was like, yo, Charlie, I want this Atown. I want to work with them. So that was when I produced Bleeding. Ooh, Bleedy, Enemy, Feely. Yeah, I produced for Sarkodie. And then Angels and Demons was on his Alpha tape. Wow. So that was my like big breakthrough. And I started working with Joey, Medical, you know, all those acts, you know, Strongman, you know.
Yeah. At that point, what shit? You've arrived.
Yeah, that's
Interesting. But I would say the recent one that even helped you gain or win producer of the year is Medical's Shoulder.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear that song, Atown, and I just, you know, dancing everything. Talk to us about that particular one. How did that also come about?
Shoulder was, you know, I've been producing Afro for a while. You know, I think last 2 years we had Single and Obsession by Medical. It was, and then Shoulder was like, I needed something that would shake the industry, because we have this sound that is Azonto, but it's sort of like forgotten a little bit. So I was like, no. One morning I was listening to Major Girl by Shatta and
Sarkodie.
So I was like, this sounds safe. I can listen to it and you know, revamp it, you know, try and then work something around it and then create my own new beat around that. So I was inspired by Major Girl.
Wow.
Major Girl, Inspired Shoulder.
Yeah, inspired Shoulder. That beat.
Yeah.
Why do I have a feeling the guy will scrap Bunu Kelake?
Yeah, you know, guys, all these things.
Please, I don't understand that one.
You know, so when I was in the studio, like one morning, I was producing that beat. I had started, so I was so inspired. You know, I was doing it, and then I was there in the Medical. I had a knock, and then lo and behold, it was Medical. I was like, oh.
He didn't even call you, and he was coming around.
You know, but mostly he calls.
Yeah.
So he just came and was like, yo, Charlie, I want to do something about this beat. Be who you own. It's like, oh, Charlie, me I start more, so no be everybody.
So you had a beat even before he came to you for
he came. So he
the
came to
song.
meet me making the beat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was like, yo, wait, they like this. Let's do something on it.
So at that time, did he have Shatawale and B-Strap in mind?
No. He did his part, and he was like, who you did here for them? I was like, me, I did here B-Strap and Shatawale. Yeah. And I was like, okay, make me put them on.
So you even recommended
Charlie. And
the
then he was like,
artist.
yeah, it'd be good. It'd be good. So he called, then he called Shatta. Shatta had it. I was sleeping. Later, after the project was done, that night, I was sleeping. Oh, I had a call. Shatta was on the line. I was like, Charlie, Charlie, this song. That was when I knew the song was about that.
Even before they called B-Strap?
Before they called B-Strap. So I think the following day, B-Strap's verse came in. And then that was it.
But why did you feel like Shatta and B-Strap were the perfect duo to help, you know, Medical with the song?
Because I could hear them on the song. Yeah, I could just, it's something that comes with production, like music. You could, you could hear these guys on it. So it's like, no, this thing here, Charlie, like me and me no Shatta, you know, you understand? And then I was like, oh, okay, then make a call up. And he even said it before. I think he even said it before. It's like, Charlie, this thing Shatta said. It's like, okay, then we could put that on. And then B-Strap, I was like, nah, the second might be B-Strap. Yeah, and then he called B-Strap. The following day,
B-Strap came through. Okay, but let's even talk about composition of a song, right? Like you mentioned, you felt like Shatta was supposed to be on the song and B sharp, and then even with the organization of the song, like medical comes and then Shatta follows and then B sharp ends it. As a producer, how are you even able to come up with a composition of a song? How do you even arrange the song to make it so interesting and nice to hear?
You know, I'm excited you asked this question because when it comes to structure of a song, it's a whole new, it's a whole experience on its own. You need to like listen to music. You need to have that experience in music to be able to structure a whole song. You know, say chorus will come first, this will come second, and shout out to BYK Medical. You know, Medical has that thing. Sometimes we can finish a song and be like, no, Atown, make this verse come first, make this come first, make this come last, make this come this. And Shoulder was arranged by Medical. Shoulder, when I talk about arrangements, is this verse for come here, this for go here, this for do, make her come first, make Bishop come last, make Shatta come. So when the whole song was done, Shatta had the Chunimachu in his verse. So that wasn't starting.
Wow.
So shout out to BYK Medical. He's a genius. That wasn't starting. And he was like, oh, wait now. We make the Chunimachu come first. That starts the whole song.
Even though it was part of a verse.
Yes. It was part of the verse. And he was like, no, J, that part, bring it forward. So it starts. So the song would have a signature. So anywhere you are, when you hear Chunimachu, you know the song will come. That is something so... I was like, hey, this guy. So we did that. And I was like, yeah, that's it.
Wow.
Let's go with this. So when I started, you know, when I finished mixing and the whole thing, I was like, nah, this is the perfect arrangement. This is the perfect arrangement. Yeah.
So it was just a random day. Medical walked into the studio, heard your song, and then we have a banger now. One popular song of the year.
Most popular.
Let's talk about the period it took you to even mix and master the song.
You know, when you there's a saying that goes by. You spend years building yourself, and then you use like 30 minutes or 1 hour to just do something. You understand? So I've spent so many years doing this, and mixing and mastering took me like a day, a day or two. So maybe one day finish mixing and mastering because they needed it. They wanted to drop it. And then the following day I had to like listen to it, maybe if there are corrections, and then because the next day you have a fresh ear. And then.
Okay. Jay, before you even come in, let me get very controversial on the show. Very, very controversial. I mean, we've listened to you and how you've described, you know, Medical as a creative, you know, his ability to even know the right verse and everything, like helping you master the song. So how did you feel when his name was not mentioned for Artist of the Year, but then a different person? Because you know him and you truly believe that this guy is good for the Mega Award. So personally, how did you take it when his name was not mentioned?
Oh, it wasn't. I didn't take it in any way because it's music. You know, you respect everyone's craft. Shout out to Black Sharif. You know, everyone. We keep saying everyone who was nominated into the Artist of the Year deserved it.
Yeah.
So even if BYK didn't get the Artist of the Year, I think Blackpool also deserved it.
Yeah.
You know, because he's also worked so hard to be where he is. But I think, you know, Medical deserved it because he's been in the industry for almost like a decade and plus. Yeah. And he's done so many hits. He has so many mileage. Like he has this. He's had his O2 show.
He did a lot last year. Album
shows and all. So I felt he's worked so hard to that point where he deserves the Artist of the Year. But since we are alive, since God is alive, you know,
more time ahead.
Great. Now, I want us to even talk about creating hit records. Do you think it has to do with the timing, chemistry, or talent? Like, what literally goes into that?
Creating hits doesn't come. You don't go to the studio and be like, I want to create a hit.
Okay.
You know, and it's God's timing. You understand? You need to do what you love to create a hit.
Create a hit. Okay.
You understand? You know, that day we made Shoulder wasn't. It was an odd day. Like he wasn't supposed to be in the studio that day, but he came through. So God actually made that day possible. You know, so I feel with all my songs that I hit, all came through. You know, some unusual So I just feel you don't go to the studio and be like, no, this song be hit. Sometimes those songs you be like, hey, Charlie, this song I didn't like them so much. You drop it and people don't really.
So great. Now let's stay in your industry, talking about producing right here in Ghana. I think we've seen a lot of conversations where there's been clash between talent, or let me say artists and producers, and saying, hey Charlie, you mix my song, I do this, I know to get my royalties and all that. Let's talk about paperwork. How is it important to you, and also with the artists you've gotten yourself exposed to, have you had the right contract, and are you still getting the royalties you're supposed to?
Yeah, when you talk about royalties and publishing, music publishing and royalties, most of our artists don't really get that conversation well. I feel we need to educate them more when it comes to that, because it takes like years to build your portfolio. It takes years, like months, So I feel we need to like educate like our acts, because sometimes the artists, which I don't want my royalties, he figure they can't take him money. But by default, the musician and then the producer are supposed to split. That's why it's called split sheet. You're supposed to split 50-50 when it comes to the composing side, and that's the publishing aspect. That is not even the masters. That's not even like the music streams. That is like the publishing. It like that one there is like 0.00011. But sometimes they don't get it. They're like, they can't take my money. No, it's by default. So I think we need to like educate them to understand how that works. But I have a publishing deal, and I'm sort of like recouping the songs that I've worked on for the past years and the new ones.
That's amazing. I even want us to still stay in this conversation and talk about rate cards. As a producer, do you have your pricing? I want to find out how you do your pricing and everything. It depends on the artist or the kind of song you're doing. How do you go about it?
When it comes to the publishing, you have something called upfront. So the upfront is your pricing. You understand? So you need to price your works, and then after you gain from like the mechanical royalties, like the streams that comes after, like the 0.00. So with the upfront, I have my pricing, and I don't look at the act. I don't look at the artist. No, my. You understand? I don't look at the artist, but I look at your consistency. How hard you're willing to work, how dedicated you are as an act, and most of these big acts are doing well, because they have shows, like they get their shows, they're being paid. For me, I would say there's no artist who hasn't really paid me. Almost all the acts that I have worked with, in one or the other, like they pay.
Respected.
So you'd have to respect that, and then when you do that, you being an artist, you're taking your craft serious as well, because you're getting paid when you perform in the shows and all. So
before even coming in, let's try to put Atown like in a very tight space. I wouldn't want to call it really tight space. You're human, right? You gel, you have that chemistry with everybody. Now let's talk about the artists you've worked with. One of the guys who walks into the studio, like he is about to go down, like I really like the energy of this person. Would you like to mention a name?
Everyone I've worked with.
There's definitely one person, anytime
the fact that medical even comes unannounced means you guys gel like in a very different way. So there must be someone.
With chemistry and gelling, I gel with most of these acts. Like I'm one of the producers who, I'm not trying to blow my own horn, but I'm one of the producers who sort of like gel with more of the acts.
Created that environment.
Because like I said, you have to work for some number of years to have that experience where when because I work closely with BYK,
Okay.
I work closely with Strongman, I work closely with Lyrical Joe Asaka, that is Skyface J Bad, I work closely with only like a whole lot of act. Kwesi Atta, I work closely with Kofi Mole, Kwabena MP, all those guys. And anytime I work with them, I sort of like understand their sound. You know, so I end up giving them what they need. So I wouldn't say, but to mention, I'll say medical.
A COD.
Yeah, medical.
Okay.
Yeah, great. You know, he even spoke about sound.
Yes.
You know, it brings us to another open conversation. Let's talk about the Ghanaian sound. You know, we've always been talking about global visibility, and you move into other countries. When you listen to their sound, it's like signature. You know, this is coming right from South Africa. This is coming from Ghana. Do you think Ghana, as you know, entertainment space or music, we've been able to identify as?
Yeah, you know, in the early 2000s, we had our sound. Like we had this hip life sound where when you're listening to Okomfo Kwade, you're listening to Brafo, you're listening to, you know, the early 2000s, we had that sound, that hip life sound. But now we have like the foreign sound, you know, mixing with our own sound. But I think we are now creating our own sound. When you listen to the Afro beats, the new music we are working on nowadays have their own, because we had Azonto, but we still have Azonto. When you listen to Dope Nation, you know, they are bringing back that Azonto. When you look into Shoulder, they're bringing back that Azonto feel. So I think we have a sound.
We do. But we're talking about money too, right? At point in time, you know, the money is very important because people want to do everything that has to do with commercial, something that's going to really sell out. So when you have these talents moving into your space, trying to create and produce music, how's the conversation like? Is it like, Charlie, what fino konike baz baba, lo one fino konike shka baba?
When you're looking at that, fino konike shka baba.
Okay.
And also create and also give you a sound as an act.
Okay.
Because almost all the acts have their own sound. You understand? So when you come to me, I'm trying to give you your own sound. If you're a new act, I'm trying to give you like your sound. Nico, and people will be like, yeah, when I hear this beat, I know this comes from this act.
Okay. But it's all like, you mentioned medical, Kwesi Arthur, Kofi Mole, Kwabena MP. I did not really hear a female's name in there. Like, Wagwan, have you worked with any female artists?
Trouble.
If yes, who? If no, why? And are you open to? So 3 in 1 for you.
Yeah, I've worked with a couple of female acts, Efia.
Okay.
I've worked with Akiana. I've worked with a couple of them. You know, the Ghanaian space. You know the
I'm listening.
Yeah, the female acts are not like many. You know, they are not many, but I think they are trying to work their way up, and we need to give them the space.
Okay.
There's this new girl coming up, Elsie.
Elsie.
Yeah, Elsie. She's really good. I think you guys should. And we are trying to work something out.
Yeah, but how is it like working with a female artist? Their creative process, you know, everything about them. Like, is it really difficult? How is it like working with a female artist?
Working with a female act is a little bit difficult. It's a little because mostly they're in their feelings. You know, mostly the female acts are in their feelings, but it's professional as well. You know, so me saying they are in their feelings is when they are tired, you can feel it when they are tired. You know, and they would like to rest. They like to make a come tomorrow and come. You know, but with the male acts, they finish up today.
No,
but they are trying. You know,
They're
the female artists are trying. You know.
Okay. But you see, when we say that Atown is a great producer, it is not actually a cliche. Now you have works to prove that yes, indeed, I've worked my way through. And your sound has the ability to, you know, connect with hip hop, drill, Afro music. You're quite versatile. So would you say versatility is a strength or challenge for you?
It's a strength. It being that if you're not being versatile, you are always locked up somewhere. Like you're always doing one thing. Oh, Charlie, me there be hip hop it. It be hip hop it. So you always have like hip. When you look at the producer of the year lineup, like for the past years, you could see that there's not been the songs that win the producer of the year are not almost hip hop. they are always Afro hip like that.
Yeah,
You know?
that's true.
Yes. So to win the producer of the year, I think you need to be versatile. That is what I think TGMA are trying to like push across. You know, that you don't have to only be a hip hop producer. You need to also be like an Afro producer to sort of like win that award.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Since you mentioned Afro music, let's talk about Afro music. Let's do a day in the life of, you know, Atown as a producer. Let's say you're having like 10 people walk into your studio for producing. Out of 10, how many people are likely to do Afro music?
3.
3.
Yes.
But we're thinking that side is really choked these days. Like we have lots of like all these new crop of artists are just doing Afro music, Afro music, Afro music. Why is this so? Is it like the easiest out of all the genres to work
Afro
on? Or,
music.
yeah.
I think we have lots of Afro producers in Ghana. You know, it's difficult to produce hip hop than to produce Afro.
Okay, so you
Yes.
feel like they just want the easiest way then?
Or not they being, not they trying to have the easiest way, but you know, hip hop has a sound. You understand? So most hip hop producers can produce Afro. Yes, but most Afro producers cannot produce hip hop. You can, when they start producing hip hop, you can hear the Afro, you know, in it, like you know, it's there, it's there. But it takes like a really experienced producer to have those. You know, I'm still growing. I'm not saying I'm the most experienced producer, but it takes some years, you know, of experience to attain that. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now let's even talk about TGMA again, right? Producer of the year. Right after Atown's name was mentioned, we went on stage to receive the award and everything. Let's talk about some gigs you've received so far, just because your name was mentioned as producer of the year. Some goodies that you came with. Some calls. You get some calls.
Oh yeah, like it's. I'm still having those calls to date. You know, shout out to TGMAs, you know, for that opportunity and that, you know, honor. I've had so many calls, you know, so many projects. You know, I'm working on so many projects right now, albums, EPs.
Wow.
I think I'm currently working on some sort of like a foundation thing that I'll put across very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, all because of
Wow.
yeah.
Jay, before you even come in, you mentioned Hama, DJ Khaled. These are people that they were sort of mentors or role models to you. But in their music, right, as producers, who would you say is that your friend?
As of now?
Yeah.
Oh, everyone is my friend. Everyone is my friend, though. Everyone is my
Like if
friend.
maybe one day you get a gig and like, I'm not really feeling too good about, let me give it to my producer friend. Who I likely to go and say, Charlie, I guess I'm going to give you...
Probably Ocha Nova. Okay. Oh, do you know him?
Yeah,
I've
I've
heard
heard
the
the
name,
name.
Yeah, Nova. He produces mostly for like Joey and Sarkodie.
Okay.
Yeah, Ocha Nova. He's one of my good friends. And Tubani Music. Beats Vampire.
Beats Vampire. Okay.
Liquid Beats.
Okay.
Yeah, Liquid Beats will come first.
Yeah, before you
Because I started with him.
Okay.
I started with him. You know, we literally learned everything together. Yeah.
Great. And you know, we were about wrapping up the whole conversation, and you mentioned the likes of their PhDs. Yeah, because growing up, these are the men we're listening to. Sometime back, you made a comment, you know, all over social saying that her producers lately are very lazy. They don't want to build from the scratch. AI generated stuff, you know, trying to put things in there. Let's talk about originality.
Yeah.
Which one works for you? Are you the one who would like to do everything from scratch? Yeah, we can do away with AI. It's very important because we know the world keeps growing. What do you think about that statement? And is it true that producers lately just want the easy way out?
Sorry, who said that again?
Apietus
said that. You know, shout out to Apietus. He's a legend. Apietus, the JQ, Apietus, all those guys. You know, I wouldn't dispute the fact that, you know, he said that. But, you know, AI is not bad.
Okay.
You know, the world is changing. Like I said before, when I started, you know, YouTube wasn't really, no tutorials. You know, we had to learn it like the hard way. And AI is not bad. But using AI to develop, to make a whole beat is laziness. That one, yeah. To make a whole beat and sell it to someone, it's pure listening. And when you hear the AI music, you know it. But sometimes, if you don't have the ears, you might not know. But we
know.
Oh,
we know.
Oh,
I had one recently.
Behave.
I had one recently.
Let's not go there.
No,
With the AI music, when you hear it, sometimes sometimes you can but starting the whole thing from the scratch is me.
Okay.
I've never used AI in any sort of like thing, but that wouldn't stop me from using AI. I would maybe along the line I would try and infuse it, because it's sort of like helping the industry grow as well. We can't run away from AI. We can't.
AI is here to stay.
Yeah, AI is here to stay, but I think we would need to like regulate it when it comes to the creative space, because God gave us that creativity. You understand? So you don't take that and be like, okay, make AI do this for me. Make AI. When you have that originality to yourself.
Okay.
Nana has a question. Then when you
then lastly we wrap up. Okay, so let me just use shoulder again. I play shoulder, and all I hear is medical, Bishra, Shatawale. I play bleeding. I hear Sarkodie. I play bangers. It's all about the artist dancing. We don't even talk about the producer. It's just a little that we've seen that, so we do have, Atown, we have Joe Kanana, we have Be the Vampire and all of that. So do you feel producers are well appreciated as compared to artists, or they are underappreciated?
Oh, producers are underappreciated.
Underappreciated.
And I feel this is the time that we are sort of like being appreciated a little bit. Like they're starting to know us more. You understand? So I feel the media should throw more light. And shout out to you guys, for inviting me. We need to throw more light on producers and their work. Yeah. So it's just that of late, I think from 2022 is when people sort of like know my face when I go somewhere, But from 2019, I had big songs. When you go there, nobody knows you.
Is it your fault then? Is it your fault? First, okay, if you don't come out there, how do I know that it's Atown?
But that's why I was saying that like the media should like throw more light on the producers, our faces. That's why right now we're trying to create our own content as well.
Oh, okay.
Our breakdowns and all of that. So right now there you go to places, hey, Atown,
Small place.
Yeah. And as we are playing with conversation, since you're Presbyterian, I'm a Presbyterian.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, I go
Presbyterian.
Council. So I want to just say today, if you are to pick any Presbyterian hymn to do something around it, what's your favorite hymn?
I told you I have a song for him.
So what song was that?
But I don't have the money, so what would you do? Say, but the song has prospects.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe after the show.
We should.
But I don't know what's going to be your closing words to your fans and viewers watching us this morning.
From Atown, thank you all for believing in Atown. All those guys, I know people know me from like way back and all of that. Thank you for believing in Atown, and there are more projects to come. Follow me on all social media, Atown TSB on all social media.
Nice. All right. Thank you so much for having you. It's been quite an inspiring conversation, and more wins in the years ahead. Okay. So viewers, we've heard it from Atown TSB, an amazing, producer we have right here in Ghana doing something very solid. And so please again, let's ensure that we're following on all socials. And I beg you, menace, if you don't want to do good music, make sure say good, connect to the right producers. So we want to say thank you to our headline sponsor, that is Savannah Paint. If you want high quality durable paint that has no chemical, lead free, look no further. We recommend to you Savannah Paint. Let's go for a 10. We'll be right back.